Assalamualaikum listeners, and welcome to the Tech Clinic. Let's get started, and we've got Brother Ghufran Shah live in the studios once more. This is now the second time we've had him in the studio rather than over the telephone line, and it is kind of special, to be fair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Yasar. How you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam, alhamdulillah. And you are well as well, I'm guessing.
Alhamdulillah, yes. Beautiful. It's nice to be here. You're looking at you as a tonic to my eye.
I'm sure you mentioned something about that when I said a few words a few weeks back, and you said that it will get you very far. So
yes. Flattery will get you everywhere. So
yeah.
I came back.
I guess. So getting started with it. We've got questions, obviously. We are going to be covering off question answers as part of the show, really. That's what Tech Clinic is. But we'll also be covering off another little part to the show, the last 10-15 minutes. 10-15 minutes, right?
Yeah, that should be okay.
About 10-15 minutes from the Consumer Electronics Show. Is that right?
That in Las Vegas. Now, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas.
We'll leave it at that.
But in this case, what goes on will be disclosed on air.
Yeah.
107.6 FM live and direct.
Yeah. Let's cover off the questions first of all. So the first question that we got today was, what are the different types of routers?
Okay, different types of routers. I think we had a question a few weeks ago where the listener wanted to know what a router was, and just to recap, the router allows two different networks to basically talk to each other. So you'll find a lot of the ISPs, Virgin Media and BT, will give you a modem which has an inbuilt router. So the main different types of routers are based on their basically the speed, and a lot of routers come with Wi-Fi functionality as well, and that speed relates to mainly the actual Wi-Fi connection speed. You'll find many routers will have a Wi-Fi capability. Some of the older ones will not have Wi-Fi. Many routers will have a number of ports, so there'll be a switch as well, so you can plug in a number of network devices. So the routers nowadays support some very high speed, so you'll see a router has a rating of a speed which comes in a single letter. So G and N are the most popular, G being a lot faster than B and A. So the older devices are A and B, the new devices are G, some new devices are N as well, and there's a standard now called the AC. So you'll see these letters after numbers. So when you do have a look at the box of the router, you'll see 802.11. That's just the technical protocol. The key thing is that letter at the end. So the latest ones will be G and N. So nowadays get G and N for speeds. So and what you'll see is the actual speeds that are advertised. You generally won't get that speed. So if a router is advertised at say N, and it's something called dual band, you'll find that advertised speed might be 450 megabits.
Sure.
You probably won't get 450, you might get 225, all depending on what you're trying to do. So many routers will have, or some routers will have a USB port as well, where you can plug in your printer, for example. What that allows you to do is it allows you to have the computers connecting on your network to have access to that particular device. It could be a printer, could be a USB disk, for example, so if you want to share files between different machines. Okay, so the main types basically are really related to the actual functions of the router. Most of them are doing the same thing. They're allowing you to connect to a different network.
Okay.
And those of you who've got a cable modem will have a device from the ISP, which will be an input router as well, and with a Wi-Fi port as well. So Virgin Media will give you one of those, depending on your package you are. It will be a router and a Wi-Fi point that you can plug devices into as well.
So just a quick one on that as well. G, N, etc. Different types of routers, as you said. And does that also depend on the range as well, and the range they cover? Or
yes, you'll find in some cases, depending on the speed, you'll find if your router is what's called dual band, it's operating on a number of frequencies.
Okay.
Some of the high frequencies will have a less range than the lower frequencies, and you can adjust the settings on the router.
Yeah.
I had a case where I was running at a speed which was at G, but the actual range was covering the whole house. But the actual the speed wasn't that good, so I had to change to N, which gave me a faster speed, but it reduced the range. So you can mess around with these settings. So.
Okay. So the next question that we've got here is kind of related, I guess, to the first question, which is out of the routers, which one can or can't be used with a telephone ISP, i.e. Sky, BT, TalkTalk?
Okay, so telephone ISPs are based on what's called ADSL, okay, which are not compatible with the actual cable modem. So the the actual cable modem. Virgin Media uses a different technology to Sky, BT, and TalkTalk. So you'll find, depending on the provider, they may give you the ADSL modem, which has a built-in router. On some packages, you might just get the modem. So you'll find you can go to your store or online and buy a device that's just a router. It doesn't have any modem functionality. If it's just a router, chances are you can plug that router into your ADSL or your cable modem.
Okay.
What you cannot do is you cannot take an ADSL modem stroke router and use it with your cable modem and router.
So you can't use a Sky BT one with Virgin, basically.
Correct. And vice versa.
Cool. Excellent. Next question we got is, what is the difference between PAL and NTSC?
Okay, PAL and NTS. Are you old enough?
Which one is better?
Are you old enough to remember VHS?
Yeah,
video
we used
cassettes.
them a lot.
Yeah, and
fast.
there was like a Betamax that died a death early on. So VHS back in the day, you could go to America and buy a video, but chances are if you try to use it here in the UK, it wouldn't work because there's different standards that different countries have. So NTSC and PAL are video standards. NTSC basically stands for the National Television System Committee. And you'll find the major uses of that are around North America, a bit of South America, most of Europe, including UK, a lot of the Asian subcontinent, India and Pakistan use what's called PAL, which is the phased alternating line. And there's also a third one as well called CCAM. And CCAM has a wonderful definition. It's the sequential color avec mémoire, or the sequential color with memory. I like TLAs, 3-letter acronyms. It doesn't mean anything. So there's a third standard called CCAM, which is mainly Russia and a few parts of West Africa. You'll find when you buy, so these standards are locked down to your region where you're buying your actual media from. So you could buy a DVD, and on the back of the DVD, if it says NTSC only, then you can only play that DVD in an NTSC compatible player. Okay, mainly in the US. Nowadays, you'll look at your DVDs and it might say NTSC stroke PAL. Okay, the screen quality is better on PAL. Okay, there's a number of technical reasons for that. The number of lines that come out with PAL is more than NTSC. So PAL gives you 50 fields per second, and NTSC gives you 25. Okay, so more lines means more information. More information means a better picture quality. So you'll find a DVD that's PAL compliant will have a better quality. So when you're buying your player, your DVD player or Blu-ray player, make sure you know which region it is, NTSC or PAL. Most of them are region free. Okay. No, that's probably wrong. So some are region free, some are locked down to a region. Okay, so you can actually unlock them as well. So try and get a player that's compatible with NTSC and PAL, so you can buy your media from say Pakistan and use it here and use it in the States. Okay.
Excellent. Next question we've got here is Android a safe OS, and if not, which procedures can I take to keep it safe?
Okay,
you like this one?
I like this one. So security should be a concern for anybody who uses a smartphone, anybody who uses a computer. So I pose the question, would you run naked through the city? Obviously not, would you? Okay,
so
so a lot of days you can buy a phone from the shop or from a market, whatever. You'll find if you haven't thought about security, you could be exposed. So Android and these operating systems, they can be safe. So when you're installing software, make sure you've given the application's authority to install software and access your contacts and SMS and so on. I had a question last week where the user was asking about can the phone actually access your phone book? Yes, it can if you've given it permission. You can install some software to make your phones a lot more safe. So like you can install a firewall on your PC and antivirus software. You can do similar measures on your smartphone. So a couple of apps you can install on Android. There's something called Root, which is all about your root access. There's an app permission manager. You can get these from the Android market. Most of them are free. In fact, all of these are most of these are free. So Firewall, there's an app called Firewall. There's a app called Droid Wall, which is the firewall, that's free. There's an ad blocker. There's a system apps manager called Titanium Backup Pro. There's a super manager, auto starts, and auto killer. So go to the Android marketplace and you can search for these apps. Search for firewall, search for ad blocker, and app permission managers.
I guess a lot of those apps and quotes which you read out there, few of them are actually related to the fact that if you've best term for it is for
if you've rooted it, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you've taken the original software off and you put something else on there, and you should be able to be playing around with it. But there's also antivirus software is available from well-known companies like McAfee and Norton
sure.
and Trend Micro, and they've got the antivirus programs as well, haven't they?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So they can be set up as well. Obviously, you have to pay a cost for it, a yearly license, same as you would do for a computer, PC or laptop. It's the same way, but it's on your phone then.
It's a worthwhile investment, and you can find if you're not happy with paying a yearly or annual subscription, most of these players will have an option where you can buy a perpetual license. One-off fee might be a bit higher, but it works out to be cheaper in the long run because you pay for it once. There is one app on Android specifically that will enhance your privacy. It's called the LBE Security Guard, which you can download, and that will give you a bit more protection and improve your privacy, inshallah.
Super duper.
So the idea of rooting, we mentioned there was a question last week. What is rooting? Rooting is basically depersonalizing and exposing your device. Okay, so it's like taking your clothes off, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got to put your clothes back on with the firewall and the LBE security guard. Okay, that's why a lot of the manufacturers will have software installed on the phone, which is making it more secure for you.
Super duper. Move on to the next question. I believe we've had something similar to this in a previous week. Is the Windows Phone worth buying, and does it have any advantages over its competitors?
Okay, so Windows, the new Windows smartphone, it's very new. It's the analysts predict that the Windows Phone will be extremely popular in the next 3 to 5 years. They're going to be increasing by at least 56% year on. They still won't have that much of the market share, but you'll find the Windows Phone is a premium product. If you're used to the Windows 8 interface, you like that, you'll see a lot more integration with that. If you use Xbox a lot and you're kind of a Windows savvy person, you'll find the experience of that handheld device a lot more intuitive, and you'll probably like that. You are restricted to the type of handsets you can have at the moment. It's still very new and it's expensive. So now we've got Android, Apple, and Windows is now coming into the market share. So all depends on your requirements. If you're counting the pennies, most of us are, then Android and some of the Google handsets are a lot more cost effective than some of the actual Windows smartphone. But it is a new product, and you are limited to what you can have. Maybe next week we'll do a bit more detailed rundown of what's available in Windows 8 on the smartphone.
Great idea. And next question we've got is, why has Windows Vista got such a bad rep?
Yeah, Windows Vista, I suppose if you look at the kind of 3 main reasons. When Vista came out, it was extremely heavy in terms of resources. So you'll find a lot of the manufacturers would be selling laptops and PCs with 2 gigabytes of RAM, which is not enough for the operating system to run. So as the actual requirements of Windows was very heavy in terms of hardware, you'd have to have a very powerful machine to run Windows. So it's called bloatware. So it used lots of RAM. And it was very different to XP, and people coming from a 95 background. So that kind of change aspect played a big part when Vista came out. And there's very poor driver support. So a lot of the old or the PCs you'd make in your bedroom, or you'd be able to install Windows XP on. Yeah. That whole kind of situation changed where drivers had to be signed, and there was not that much driver support, especially for the some of the independent manufacturers and boards. So So Vista introduced a new way of working, and then so the bad things in Vista were fixed by Windows 8, or Windows 7, and Windows 8. So Windows 8 is much more lighter, new driver model, and it's not as heavy as on resources as Vista was. Okay, I still prefer a Mac OS. So.
Did you have to put
Go
that
for
in
Mac
there?
OS.
Did you have to put that in there? No, you shouldn't really be saying that. Come on, be partial.
Yeah, I've got to be impartial. I'm being partial.
I'm sorry, you're being partial. Be impartial as possible, I guess. We've only got a few questions regarding Apple devices, so I'm quite pleased about that. Just saying. The next question we have got related to an iPhone, I guess. Can I buy an iPhone in the UK, activate it here, and use it abroad? Okay,
got to be careful here. If you buy an iPhone from the Apple Store, those devices are SIM unlocked, so they're SIM free. What that means is you can plug your iPhone into iTunes, activate it, stick in any SIM card, and it will work. And that type of phone, you can go and use it in Pakistan, America, wherever you can get a compatible SIM card, because it's SIM unlocked. Most people won't buy it from the Apple Store because it's quite expensive. You've got to spend a good £400-500 on the handset. So most people will take a subscription with Orange or T-Mobile, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, your chances are your device is going to be tied down to that network.
Yeah.
So you can activate it, and if you've enabled roaming on your account, you can then use the phone there, but they'll be very expensive. Okay, so if you want to put in a local SIM card, you probably cannot. If you have got an iPhone that way via a monthly subscription, you can ask the company if they can SIM unlock your phone. Some places charge £15, some might do it free, some might insist you've got to have the contract for at least 6 months to a year for them to SIM unlock it. Once it's unlocked, then you can use that phone anywhere in the world with any local SIM card. That's by far the most cheapest way of using a phone abroad.
And that completely unlocks it. You can use it anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's SIM unlocked, which is very different to jailbreaking the phone or rooting it. Okay.
Cool. Next question we got: is there anything similar to Siri on Android?
Yeah, so there's quite a few.
I hate to say this.
Yeah, well, Siri is pretty much the only or main application. I think it's the only application which makes your iPhone voice activated. So
sure.
You can keep the button pressed and you can say play my favorite nut or where am I whatsoever. So it's voice activation. On Android, you've got more options. Some of the popular ones are Google Now. There's something called Speak.
Impartial, remember?
Yeah, there's something called Speak to It Assistant, which is a nice one. You'll find a lot of the ones in the marketplace will be relying on Google Now. A few of them don't rely on Google Now. There's something called Voice Actions. There's something called V-Lingo, which doesn't rely on Google's voice recognition system. So that's V-L-I-N-G-O.
Okay.
There's something called Maluba, M-A-L-U-B-A.
Maluba.
So there's quite a few voice activation types of software available on Android. The most popular being Google's Google Now, which is an interesting one. Does the same thing. So you can say, I have an appointment tomorrow, add it to my calendar. You've got to speak very slowly, and if there's background noise, it gets a bit confused.
So what you're saying, Siri wouldn't get confused then?
Yeah, no, Siri gets really confused because I'm always talking quick and I've got lots of background noise.
Well, it's good that you're being partial.
It's quite funny when if you ask Siri, will you marry me? The answer was, that's not an appropriate action, Ghufran. So you can't pronounce my name.
Excellent.
You can have lots of fun with these voice activations if you're feeling lonely or you're getting bored. So if you're feeling lonely, do something else. Oh, speak now.
Right. Let's go on to our final question, and then we'll be moving on. What has CES, Consumer Electronics Show, brought for us this year? Obviously, explain what is Consumer Electronics Show first of all, for those of you who don't know much about it or never heard about it. But let's move on to the final question first of all. How do I close my Instagram account?
Okay, so you can close your Instagram account because the Instagram and Facebook changed the policy, which basically means that any picture you take, that they could potentially use that picture anyway without you giving them authority. So before you close your Instagram account, it's worth on making a copy of all the pictures you've taken. It'll be a nice thing. Okay. We like to keep backups of our pictures. And I suppose we should be taking backup of all key data. That's a separate issue as well. But yeah, if you want to close your account, you've got to log on to Instagram, log on to your account, and then you can do that. Yeah, so you log on to your account, and you'll see against your name, you can edit your profile. So in Instagram, you edit your profile, and in that screen that allows you to edit your profile, in the bottom right, you'll see a link that says delete your account. Mm-hmm. You choose that link and it'll ask you why you're deleting, and you can say it's because of privacy reasons, or if you don't want to give them the reason, you could just put other. Okay. Once you've done that, you'll see some more confirmation windows. So read the information there. Just press agree with that. Yes. Once you do that, all your photos will be deleted, and you won't. Hopefully they'll be deleted. You won't be able to access those photos, and you won't be able to open up a new account with that same name, with your old username.
So yeah, that was the final question.
Instagram. Yeah, so you can delete the account certainly by going into your profile.
Excellent. Right, let's move on towards the Consumer Electronics Show and what has brought forward to us. First of all, you can just explain to the listeners, for those who never heard about it or don't know anything about it, what the Consumer Electronics Show is with Ghufran, and then we'll go into what's coming out this year.
Okay, so Consumer Electronics Show, it's the world's biggest gadget show, held in the one and only Las Vegas. It's been going on for a long time now, and it's the move of that has really been, it started off being pure electronics. Now you're seeing the move to a lot more software, a lot more hardware. You see all the big players there, the Microsofts, the Intel, the Samsungs and so on, Sony's, Panasonics, etc. All consumer electronics, household names. You also see lots of startups as well. So somebody has a great idea, they might want to showcase their product there.
Sure.
One such startup was something called Pebble, which is a smart watch. So you have a watch with an LCD display that it can show you your Twitter feeds, your Facebook feeds. You can display messages. I don't know, I'm not convinced, but it's you could probably even do Skype calls on it as well. So on your wrist, you've got a smart watch which you can customize and have a screensaver on your wrist. I think a watch should be a watch, a timepiece. You need to get a classic watch rather than some fancy looking gadget. That's it. So you have startups. This year the focus is really on smarter watches, bendy phones, and this is really interesting, really exciting. What Samsung have done, they've pioneered the what's a flexible screen. It's called the Yolm flexible display technology, and you can take your phone and you can fold it up. You can take a tablet and fold it up. Literally, it's a flexible device which you can treat like a piece of rubber, and it actually folds up. You can roll it up. So fantastic technology there. And these screens are using organic LEDs. So it's organic material with LED technology. They are still expensive. But you'll see what Samsung have really pioneered this, and Nokia have done something similar, but Samsung are still leading the game with that, with these flexible screens.
Rumours are it might be coming to the S4.
Yeah, so I heard that as well. So the S4 in a flexible capacity, fantastic. I think they've really exceeded what Apple have on offer in that case. If it does come out, it'll be fantastic.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, no, I mean,
wow.
Credit where it's due. I mean, Samsung, they've got some really bleeding edge stuff, and there's another thing that was showcased. There was a tablet, and when you're using these tablets, the problem I have is there's no feedback on the Apple devices.
Okay.
So you just bang against the screen.
Mm.
So a lot of the non-Apple devices have this thing called haptic feedback. Yeah. So when you touch a screen, it vibrates. Yeah. So taking that one level further is, how would you feel if you actually had a keyboard on the screen with grooves that you could actually feel the keys? So what these guys have done is they've used this liquid technology. Mm-hmm. So you have a screen that feels like a normal tablet. Yeah. It's all smooth. You then press an icon, and the actual screen depresses in. So like on the Terminator movies, we have that the character morphing in, I think, Terminator 2. Okay. So it's like liquid technology, which actually the screen depresses, and you can actually feel the keys. So it morphs into a keyboard.
That sounds fantastic.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. So yeah, that was interesting with the screen. Other highlights of the show, there was lots of TV manufacturers there, the Samsung, the Sony, Toshibas. Yeah. And they've got this thing called ultra high definition, which is 4 times sharper than HD, than 1080p.
Really necessary?
Not really, but you've got screens from 50 inch to 110 inches. Okay. I mean, 110 inch TV is just a bit excessive. Yeah. Is it excessive? Yes. Just anything above 100 inches is excessive.
Excessive, yeah.
And the prices are silly today. They're $20,000, but... and they're using the latest technology. It's not LED, it's OLED, this organic LED. Okay. Which we're going to see a lot more of that moving on next year. There was a bit of rumours going around. What is Apple doing? Apple have been for many years trying to move into the TV market. So these manufacturers, in private, they're a bit concerned as to what Apple's going to do in that space. The rumour is there'll be a TV type device which has Apple TV integrated, and your whole Apple becomes the hub of your entertainment system. So it's all about 2D this year, not that much on 3D, and what people are saying is 3D really didn't really take off. They're saying 3D is dead almost, and in that 3D space there will be something coming this year which will be a 3D TV that does not require a pair of glasses. The biggest problem I find is having that glass. I've got 3D TV. I've used it about twice just to play with. I haven't really watched any 3D content. There's too much hassle taking out the glass and pairing it. A bit
it's
of
better
a gimmick.
in cinema, I guess.
Yeah. The big thing with the CES this year was the smartphones. Smartphones were just running the show with the Samsung and the bigger screens. Mm-hmm. So that we mentioned this prototype of a phone with a bendy display, they call it. So if the S4 does make it into that space, it will be something completely new that Samsung are pioneering.
Adding on to that, there's something on a roll-up tablet as well, wasn't there, that they were advertising with in the video? A tablet which they basically press a button, it comes out. It's like a sheet of paper or some sort.
Like a scroll.
Like a scroll, similar to a scroll. And then it's like they press the button again, and it folds back up again, which is... It's crazy.
Yeah, sure. So
you can carry around like a little scroll in your hand.
So that I'm not too excited about that. What I am excited about is this this device, which is a Californian startup. And have you ever seen that film Minority Report?
Yeah.
Or some of the Star Trek screens where you're touching this air and you're actually controlling devices.
Sure.
Seems futuristic, but there is today this Californian startup. They've produced a USB-sized device, a small device, which it plugs into your computer or attaches to the computer, and it creates a field around the computer. And that field, I'm not sure how it works. Maybe it's infrared or some kind of radio wave. Or you can, when you touch that field, you can actually control the device.
Ooh.
So I could be doing these hand movements in air that seem I'm doing it in the air. I could be actually browsing the web and doing my shopping, and I'm pointing to the air. But I'm interacting with this field to actually control the device.
Do you have to actually wear some glasses or something?
No, it's just that device. It makes that field. So this could change fundamentally how we interact with computers and devices.
Right.
So the actual days of the keyboard are numbered, I think. I mean, we've seen kind of screens and smartphones, and now, I mean, keys, physical keys. Who needs physical keys when you've got this interactive air that you're interfacing with? So yeah, that could be a revolutionary advance. Watch out for that one. So lots of gadgets in the CES. And this is really funny. There's something called an iPotty. It's if you've got children and you're potty training them, there's a device which has a space for an iPad or a tablet that's being used to potty train your child. So interesting. So and the other one is it's an iFork. So the fork vibrates with an effort to, I think, nice one for Addy. It's not a George Foreman thing. It's an iFork. So what the idea is, the more you eat, the more the fork vibrates, and it's trying to reduce the amount you eat by increasing the vibrations. Okay. So this iPotty sounds cool because actually it's followed by a robot which on wheels that massages your back.
Okay.
New experience of doing iPotty.
That is different.
So yeah, that's CES every year in Las Vegas. Lots of gadgets coming out there. So the biggest thing really that will affect is really the lack of 3D TV moving forward. I think 3D TVs will probably be phased out this year, I think.
Maybe back to the cinema, won't it?
Yeah, go back to the cinema.
Back to the cinema. And then you also got IMAX as well, which is kicking off really well.
That one is up in Nottingham, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's all then. Obviously there are the news and other tech events, I guess, and that happen all throughout the year, but this is one of the big ones and the big boys where they come along and showcase their devices. We're going to be leaving with that, I guess. Is there any final words you want to say?
Final words, we've got the thanks for uploading the actual the show on YouTube. So inshallah, if people have got download those and keep those questions coming in. I think the question this week were really good, really nice variety there, from video standards right through to networking and so on. I think I'd like to give a bit more detail, so get some questions earlier. If somebody's doing a course, somebody's doing a course on I don't know, computer science, whatever, and they want help with an assignment, something I can get my teeth into, you see. So literally, I see these questions. I was in Milad today, so you sent me the handwritten notes, so I need something a bit more challenging that I can prepare in advance for. So I'm putting down my gauntlet.
We'll see what the listeners have to say about that. I just did have a text message though in regards to the potty trainer. Just asked how does that actually work? Does it say on there? I mean, from the information that you retrieved, or someone just asked me that? I just want to know.
Yeah. So
do we have anything on it?
There's nice pictures. So it's called iPotty, and I don't think it's tied down. So it's toilet training with an added iPad. So it's actually an iPad stand. So what it works is it's a colourful little thing. How does it work? It's got you can rotate the iPad horizontally and vertically, and when the child is actually on the potty, the app is making It's actually it can be used to play cartoons or the favorite Angry Birds.
Okay.
It's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, it's not it's just yeah. I think that's quite, jokes aside, having that kind of device whilst you're potty training your child. If that's going to become the norm, then maybe when they're 5, they're going to start taking their phones to the loo, and which it's just not something that certainly Muslims should be doing. And of course, it could be dangerous if your little one actually pees on your iPad. That wouldn't be nice, would it? And the iPad is not waterproof, so there was in the show. There's like a handset that was actually waterproof as well. So
yeah,
but it'd be really messy. So I wouldn't recommend them.
Experience that.
Yeah. So there's a removable bowl. It's weird actually. Just to go, things like this happen in the States. I mean, you could have a wacky idea, and
then it gets sold, and some big company goes boom.
So you know that
every household.
You know this idea stinks.
It's good that you said that. I like what you did there as well.
Literally,
it does stink, doesn't it? We're gonna leave it at that note then.
Goodbye from Yasar.
Yeah, that's all from me. Yasar, and inshallah I'll be joining you guys back next week again with the Sunday Magazine and the Tech Clinic, and that's all from Brother Ghufran as well. So that was our final message, I guess.
Yeah, Jazakallah. And we wish everybody happy Milad Sharif. And this is the month where the mercy to mankind was revealed to humans, and inshallah I hope everybody can be celebrating Milads, not just in this month but every day of the year. And there's lots of mehfils happening in Nottingham, so there's no excuse to not go to an event that's rejoicing the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.